If you're listening right now to the Little House 50th Anniversary podcast, we know something about you. We know that you're obsessed with Little House on the Prairie.
For more than half a century, Little House on the Prairie, the series and the books have been bright lights for people all over the world who seek out goodness, decency, and human connection.
Here on the Little House 50th Anniversary podcast, we celebrate everything that made Little House so special.
The stories, the characters, the actors, and the messages that have made Little House iconic family television.
And a perfect counterpoint to a world that feels like it's going off the rails every day.
Where is Michael Landon when we need him most? I'm your host, Pamela Bob.
And I'm your prairie bitch, Allison Arngrim.
And I'm Dean Butler.
Our hashtag imaginary boyfriend. Join us for our loving, quirky, and often irreverent conversations about the finest family drama in the history of television.
And the imperfect people who made it that way.
In this third season, we are extremely grateful for the support of VisitSeeMeValley.com for their continuing sponsorship of Little House on the Prairie and the Little House 50th Anniversary podcast. Ah, hello! We always start off with a weird bang, don't we? Hi, everybody. Hi, bonnet heads. How are you? This is Pamela Bob. I'm your host, creator and star of Living on a Prairie, and super fan. I am here, as always, with your beloved prairie bitch, Allison Arngrim, and your hashtag and my hashtag imaginary boyfriend, Mr. Dean Butler. Hello, prairie peeps.
Hey.
How are you guys doing?
Good. Well, so we always talk about the weather.
Yes.
That seems like the opening start. So it poured yesterday in town, and we're getting a little respite, but it's supposed to pour again tonight, I think.
Yes, later this afternoon also. And I'm up here in Tonga where it's getting a bit nippy, just a bit cool. It's all this lovely spring weather. That's over. It's cold.
Yeah, I've got the
But don't you
wool
need
on
the
now.
rain? Isn't rain always a good thing?
Oh, God, yes. No, drought land. We desperately
We take it all. But it was very intense yesterday. Catherine sent me 3 different videos of the river that was going down West Holm Avenue yesterday. Just the loaded street, and then the water pouring off the roof, and Benny out with his yellow rain slicker on.
A
and
rain slicker for Benny. Do you have boots?
A rain slicker for
Are you
our
those
pupper.
people
Yeah.
that have boots for your? Yeah,
We are.
You're those people. We're official dog people.
We are, yeah.
We're very excited because we got that good heater that when the air conditioning people came in, we got the electric, forced air heat as opposed to the gas. Oh, this is lovely when it got cold in the mornings. And we had a little river rapids going out here down the hill. Yeah, it's nippy. It's gonna snow in the mountains above us, but we sometimes, if the wind blows the right way, we could get snow in the driveway on like Thursday, which is just weird that could happen.
Mm-hmm. I'm just sitting here nodding my head.
Yeah, it's like nothing. Who are these
rain,
people whining
okay,
about
rain.
rain and cold?
Rain.
I want to bring up something that I sent you both a thing yesterday about movie meter.
Yeah.
From
IMDb.
Yes,
IMDb.
Right.
Yes.
So I did some analysis of this graph, and
first of all, were you purposely looking for us on IMDb? I didn't even know we were on IMDb.
Yes, I did. I was looking for it, and it came up, and it seems it's interesting because our numbers go up and down dramatically based on the release day. When we drop an episode, like when this one drops, the numbers will go up. How much they'll go up is contingent upon what the show is and if there's a guest and so on and so forth. But here's the good news, and we have to thank the people who watch and listen to us. We are consistently in the top 25% to the top 10% of all podcasts.
Is that really?
Thank you. Yes, IMDb, they do. They have these ratings. I mean, that's like, we were talking about that number where we were number 1 million or whatever, because it's the rating of every single thing,
that's right.
on IMDb where they rank. And, Margot Robbie is 1, and then we all fall, that kind of thing. I'm 11,700.
Oh, that's not bad. That's amazing.
Which no, I'm not going to be in I'm not going to be number 7 with Brad Pitt or whatever.
No, 11,000 is incredible.
But that's actually pretty good for when I'm up this week, apparently. The star meter. But I get a lot of views. But I am like
IMDb has got all kinds of different metrics for all of that kind of stuff. And it's so contingent upon, I mean, it's all tied into hits on websites, and I mean they're monitoring a lot of different stuff to generate these numbers. Here we are. Our number seems really high, but when you look at the number of podcasts that are out there, we are defined in that meter as a highly relevant podcast in the and what they make the point of saying. For a podcast about a television show that's over 50 years old, it's an extraordinary level of performance.
That is true.
That's why when any of my numbers for anything, when they come in, I go, I'm 64 years old. I'm technically an ex-child star. I'm a late middle-aged ex-child star whose big hit was that's crazy numbers for someone like me. And for this, yes, a podcast about a TV show that stopped airing in 1983.
Wow.
Yeah, it's amazing.
To be off the charts cuckoo. Well, it's like I said, it's like we're Star Trek or something.
Well, the power of the prairie, man. You hear that, sponsors? You hear that, sponsors? Come on down.
So thanks to everybody who watches and listens regularly. It's just been, it's just an amazing thing, and we are so grateful for it.
And it's so funny too, because the three of us, it just feels like we're just having a conversation, like how we always talk with each other. We're just hanging out, and to know it's like, people are listening to this, right?
We should try to remember that occasion.
They're listening.
We're so bad.
They're listening, and they're taking
Margot
notes.
Robbie's only.
What a hack! Yeah, she's a hack. Then
poor girl.
Yeah. Oof. Well, that's incredible information. And thanks, everybody. Thanks, our listeners and our fans. Yes. And,
Thank you. Thank you.
So let's get to the show.
Listen. On this, did anyone forget that this was actually a kind of quasi-Christmas episode? Because I forgot all about it.
Absolutely.
I totally didn't remember that at all.
Now, it's interesting the way the network scheduled it.
Okay, we'll talk about that because I was interested. Like, when did this drop?
Now, I know this episode because being good friends with Miss Charlotte Stewart, our Miss Beadle, she refers to it as Miss Beadle Kills the Kids Again.
Yes.
And she just she said, I just am the worst person.
Yeah, this is a tough one. No, it was an accident. Okay, we're going to get to the episode that is the Little House's most dangerous Christmas Eve ever. I mean, nothing says Christmas Eve like a natural disaster and death. So anyway, from UB & Go and Prairie Partners, and I went out of order. UB & Go, sure, Prairie Partners, and visit SeeMeValley.com, and our wonderful patrons and listeners and supporters like you all. This is the Little House on the Prairie 50th Anniversary Podcast. All right, guys, let's delve in. This is a tough one. This is a harsh episode. It's really oof. Okay, Dean, what are we talking about today?
Yeah, all right. So today we're talking about episode 11 of season 3. This is Blizzard, which takes place on Christmas Eve, but interestingly premiered on January 3rd, 1977. Okay. So it was not really positioned as a Christmas episode. And when you see thematically what it is, not surprising, and that's why but it is in fact set on Christmas Eve. And that's why I had
completely forgotten that this even had anything to do with Christmas, because it is so not Christmassy at all. It just sort of is a drag that it happens to be on Christmas Eve. Like, worst Christmas ever.
We see some Christmas decorations in the classroom, and
it's a thing, because one of the reasons they're out. Why is everybody out in what is going to be terrible? They're last minute Christmas presents.
Right.
Pa's got the rocket
and everyone's
horse
so excited
going in the bar. They're running out to get the guys went to go get the rifle for the guy. They're going to get last minute Christmas presents, and the reason the kids get let out because it's Christmas Eve and they finished it. They're all going. That's, I think, what makes it more horrible Is everyone's all
I
excited
know.
to get home for Christmas Eve because they've wrapped the presents and they're
No,
ready
we
to
all know how
go.
that feels, especially that last day of school before
and the
Christmas
world
break. It's just
comes
like,
to
when
an
do we
end.
get to go home? When?
All right, so let me. So
let's do the
this
thing.
was written by Paul W. Cooper, directed by William F. Claxton.
Claxton.
Perhaps a more natural placement might have been December 20th, 1976, when The Hunters aired, but the story probably persuaded NBC executives to delay it until after the holidays, just because it might have put a bad taste in people's mouths.
I
for the
wonder
holidays.
what the
Right
actual
on
Christmas episode was this season.
There was
there
no actual
wasn't
Christmas
one. So that's
episode.
This
interesting.
was it. This
That's
was it.
interesting, though, that they didn't air it on December 20th, which is still enough time, I suppose. But maybe they just didn't even want to touch Christmas because it is dark.
Maybe, and this is our Christmas episode that year, technically. But it makes it January because, boy, it's really cold in January, so people stuck in the
And
snow.
Christmas is over,
Well,
so
here we
we're not
are.
ruining anyone's
Well,
holiday.
this is why we decided to do this now, because the
so
eastern
cold.
part of the country has been in this deep
Yeah.
freeze.
They
and
said,
we
what
decided to
episode
this
should we
now.
do?
All right,
And I said,
Allison,
well, I'm in blizzard winter hell. Let's do this episode.
let's do the
All
blizzard.
right.
Yeah, yeah. So, Allison, what is the blizzard
This
about?
is about. It's our Christmas episode where everyone dies. It's Christmas Eve in Walnut Grove, and a storm warning arrives for the telegraph. Love the use of the telegraph.
Yeah, that's true. Very
Snow
eerie.
begins to fall. The wind rises. Poor Miss Beadle makes a split-second decision that the children should go home before the blizzard fully hits. But the Prairie doesn't wait. No. Within minutes, the storm becomes a white wall. Roads vanish. Landmarks disappear. Some children make it home. Some do not. Christmas turns to terror as parents celebrate and come up short. It's really, their tears spread. Anger follows. And people freak out all over the place. Did Miss Beadle make the right call? Charles Ingalls and the fathers push into the whiteout, fighting wind and freezing cold to search for their lost children. It's no longer about presents or celebration. It's about survival.
Correct.
Blizzard is one of Little House on the Prairie's most harrowing episodes.
Correct.
It really is. A story about leadership under pressure.
Is it?
Fear turning to blame.
Yes.
And the thin line between safety and catastrophe
Correct.
on the frontier. This Christmas Eve, the only gift that matters is getting everyone home. Yes, it's that bad. It's that bad. It's terrifying. People like flip out. Some of the people just like wig out.
Okay,
Just like wig
I
out
just
right
have to say,
there
my
in the
husband. I was
corner.
watching on my computer in my room last night, and my husband came in right at the very end, and I am sobbing. And he just looks at me, and I
Seriously?
just went, "This was a really sad episode," and I started crying, and he went, "Oh, I'm sorry," and I was just like, "Oh, it's okay."
The poor man still
No,
baffled.
he's never
about
watched it.
why.
It's like,
You're
why?
never watched
You're
it.
watching this. Yeah.
happening.
Oh man!
I've had one or two where I was watching them, and Bob came in from the other room and said, "My God, what is going on in here?" He's just for part of the episode, like Jesus.
That's what my husband does too. That's what Hal does too. Every once in a while, he'll step in and be like, "What is happening right now?" But he won't watch it himself, so he can be. It can be.
Well, he just
I'm a
doesn't
woman of
want that
mystery.
trauma.
That's true. Actually, he does
Yeah.
not want to be traumatized.
Yeah, yeah.
All right. Well, let's start from the beginning.
Yeah.
As we said, it's Christmas Eve. Everyone is super excited. The kids are in their last afternoon of school. They're finishing getting their present. They're all making presents, crafty, for their parents and their families. And even the ladies are over at Mrs. Olson's decorating things because there's going to be a Christmas party.
They're literally
in
yeah.
the church
They're having
the
a
next
craft fair.
day. It's everyone's super excited. But we also
I was
see
like, "What are they making?" Mrs. Olson's making like
it looks like
egg
Easter
things. I was
eggs
like,
wrapped in Christmas colors.
Okay, the Olsons weren't Russian, but yes, there is an Eastern European tradition of colored eggs at
Of
Christmas.
colored
But
eggs
I'm like,
at
why is
Christmas,
Mrs.
yeah.
Olson making? I'm totally baffled. But she's making red and green. And then I went. They're having a craft fair
Yes,
in the living
yes.
room at the Mercantile. It's very odd. And then the family are so excited because they're getting their child an enormous gun
Yes,
for Christmas. But
the gift that keeps on
You
giving.
need one. You need one out there.
But I actually jumped the gun because the episode really starts with this entire episode are lovable characters that all enter the vortex. These are one-timers.
Yes, right.
We've never seen them before. We will never see them again. They enter the vortex
McGinnis.
after this. done.
Yeah.
It starts
McGinnis family.
with the telegraph tap to the tap, tap, tap of some man we have never seen before and we will never see again in Long
And
John's.
he's so good. The spooky old guy in
with the weather report.
River,
The weather
River
report
Falls.
from. Do we know where International Falls is?
And he's from, and International Falls says we can't move till we get the report from Thief River
Oh,
Falls.
so I don't know where
the
any of these
desolate-
places are.
He's in the desolate,
and that could be
place.
A lot of
totally
falls.
fictional
Right,
place.
okay.
Completely made up. They could be completely made
Well,
up.
and
I gotta
also,
say.
who knew, because I didn't, that people were actually tracking weather and were predicting weather and were recording weather. I knew that there's the Farmer's
Well, I think
Almanac,
they
but I
were-
didn't know.
I think they were, telegraph operators were sending what they saw and what they were experiencing and sharing it, and to the extent that they could
Give you an hour or
say
two.
that the wind is blowing
Right.
southwest and blah, blah, they could share that. But I don't know how much
Yeah,
prediction
obviously this was
is
like
going.
an hour before everything hit the fan.
Yeah.
Right, okay.
It's in
well,
the
it
minutes
is-
prior
It was,
to.
1840s, they were cranking it out with the telegraph. So that was a regular
Yeah.
thing to get reports. The weather thing, I guess it had to be. I mean, it really was, in the late 1700s was the beginning of creating this kind of technology. So by Morse system was adopted in 1865. Which had been developed in Germany in 1848. So it does go way, way back. So yes, by the 1870s, when this is vaguely happening, yes, absolutely, having people to let you know what's going on by Morse code from different outlets was totally
Interesting.
a thing. Totally
well,
a thing.
and there was something, I mean, right off the bat, we know, man in Long John's, tap to the tap tap, weather's bad. Dun dun dun. We're doomed. It's classic Prairie.
And the ominous wind sound was really terrifying.
Also, flash to, as soon as this is over, it flashes to the next scene, which is a sunny, warm, blue sky day. No one's wearing coats or hats or scarves. and it's
Christmas Eve. Yeah.
Oh, boy.
I think the show has all kinds of little inconsistencies,
But
like
that's
that.
bizarre. They know it's Christmas Eve. Wear a freaking coat.
Yeah, well, maybe, and it's to show the contrast
weather?
between just being cold
Yeah.
and being brutally
maybe.
cold. And so you have some place to go. If you start in shirt sleeves and then you're bundled up with a scarf under your neck and your hat bent down and your collar up, then we know
winter
it's
cold,
really
yeah.
cold.
Now, this was also based, very loosely based, on a real thing. If you go
The children's
into
blizzard, right?
the books, but then you get into Pioneer Girl, there really, really was a blizzard in the 1880 long winter. But in 1888, there was a blizzard. There really, really was a blizzard in 1888, and it was even called the Children's Blizzard because
There's a book about it. There are lots of things about it.
Was horrible and sudden, and they said unseasonably warm weather. It had been a nice day, which is why children went to school
Without their coats.
their coats.
Oh, no.
And they wore regular sweater thing, and everyone thought it was fine. And went, isn't it great? We're getting this break. I don't think it was Christmas at all, but it was 1888,
Right.
and they had sudden, dramatic, unseasonably warm weather, and tricking children into going to school without their heavy coats. And all these people thought, oh, it's a great day. We're getting a break. We're having a little Indian summer thing in the middle of winter, and everybody went out and said, "Oh, I guess I can drive the wagon all the way over to so and so's farm because it's not going to snow tonight." And they thought it was great, and that thing came up in minutes. And it was one of the worst blizzards ever, and it was something like 3 and 4 feet of snow, and it killed 250 to 500 people. They're not quite sure. It was hard to count back then, and finding everybody, many of them school children, because indeed, when it started to suddenly change, the teachers freaked out and said, okay, I don't know what's going on. It was completely fine today. We're not supposed to have snow tomorrow. You should all go.
Oh, no.
They couldn't make it. It came so fast. It was it was almost like a sudden thing, like a tornado or a tidal wave. It came so fast that no one anticipated the speed of it. And yes, hundreds and hundreds of people died, many of them. So this is kind of the horrible, horrible actual historical incident that they pulled from for this episode.
It makes me think about tsunamis
Totally.
where where
Terrifying.
the water retreat, and people wonder what happened to the water, and they walk out, and all of a sudden there's this.
That's
wall
like
of
my
water that's coming
most
rushing at them.
fearful thing is anything involving the ocean and water, like that onslaught
ocean's so
of
powerful.
water.
You didn't watch that movie about the famous tsunami, the one in you didn't watch
I
that,
actually
right?
did,
Yeah.
but that was more of a survival story. That was okay, but like
It's a great movie. It's really well
really
made,
a
but I
good
won't watch
movie.
it a second
No,
time. And Bob will
no,
not
I
be-
won't watch it a second time. No, not at all.
Much too
No,
scary. It's
tsunamis
much too
scare the
scary.
crud out of me. That is like.
Yeah, the 1888 blizzard, was it 60 mile an hour winds? They went from, we're having a early spring to, oh crap, 60
Yeah.
mile an hour winds and snow. So that really did happen where everybody went, oh, it's fine. It's fine. It'll be a great, let's all go out. And that totally happened. And they did get hit with a sudden blizzard and people did not
Yeah.
make it. So this absolutely is a weirdly, almost historically accurate episode.
Okay, so everyone's very happy. It's Christmas Eve. Like I said, the kids are about to
Yes.
finish.
Yes.
Even the
Yes.
adult ladies doing the crafties are enjoying it. And even at one point, is it Carolyn who looks out the window and goes, "Oh, look, it's trying to snow."
Yes. Oh, it looks like it's trying to snow.
it's
She says.
trying. It's
No.
trying.
Yeah. They all keep saying we might get a white Christmas. That'd be great.
Meanwhile, as you look out, in the wide shot of of Charles and Mr. Edwards driving back into town, it is I guess that would be sort of normal for the east, but the hills are brown and the dust is thick in the air that they're blowing around. I mean, it's clearly
Summer.
It's
Well,
summer.
also
It's
all of
summer
the
or it's
trees have
fall,
all
but-
of the leaves. I was like, this is not winter on the prairie right now.
Yeah.
I'm thinking like it might have been shot in October because there's wind, and Bob even watched part and said, "Is that wind machines in Simi, or you had some wind?" I go, if it was shot like Octoberish, which was common, we got quite a bit of wind. We get a lot of wind
course.
out here in October.
Yeah, no,
so
of
you could
course.
have some wind and then go, "Oh, good, yeah, oh, it's getting Christmas episode."
Yeah, I think they would have, to reinforce the idea that something's happening, they wouldn't have taken the chance on maybe having wind or not. Those are
Yeah,
wind
for
machines.
sure. I mean, woof.
Yeah, no question.
much.
It's wind machines.
Too much
Okay,
wind.
so
Yeah, it's a
before
lot
we
of
get
wind.
to the actual event, I just want to take note that Willie is, they're in class. Miss Beadle says, "Willie, have you eaten the paste again?"
Again, what is that? That was my next comment. Willie eating glue. What is that about?
Okay, you obviously weren't a paste eater.
Some
Did
kids-
you ever have that kid in the back? That
Yeah,
eats the
kids
paste?
would eat paste.
I don't think I ever ate
I
the
never
paste.
ate the paste.
Now we
tomato.
probably didn't, because probably even by our childhood they had the commercial stuff and it's mucilage or Elmer's. But in the oldie days they had that sort of homemade paste, and a lot of that was flour and water and salt. Kind of glue. It was more organic.
Yeah.
You could eat it and not die. Like you wouldn't want to eat Elmer's
Right.
glue. You'd get really sick. You'd be in the
Well,
hospital.
eating paste
But back
was a
then they had
thing.
paste that- Like, remember eating people ate Play-Doh. Everybody ate Play-Doh when I was a kid. And, which is still disgusting, but won't kill you.
Is Play-Doh sort of
Play-Doh
salty?
is flour, salt, and water, right? Like that's
okay.
But
just
so
cooked.
early paste
Maybe
didn't have the
tartar.
chemicals that
I think
even we had in our day.
tartar also in there.
Maybe
Maybe
tartar?
it's not flour. Maybe it's
Yep,
tartar.
yep.
But anyway, gross.
But it's flour
Kids
and
are
water that can make
weird.
Play-Doh. So you could eat paste. It's disgusting. You're like eating just flour and water and salt and it's gross, but you won't die from it back then. It was just there weren't any chemicals
Well-
like it. So and there was always one
Yes,
weirdo kid in the back.
Willie's
of the
the
room who ate
weirdo
paste.
kid.
It was a freak.
Weirdo Willie's,
Paste.
of course, the weirdo kid.
course
And
Willie
and
is
he
paste.
so sweetly says, "No, ma'am, I'm not." And of course, his mouth is covered with it. It's like
And he's holding the jar.
he's
He's
got
like
his whole
holding the
mouth
jar
in
up
the jar.
right here. No.
Okay, so
No.
he gets sent to the corner like you do
Yes.
with Willie. But it starts gently snowing, and everyone's really excited. Look at the snow, look at the snow. And Miss Beadle makes the decision, hey, it's Christmas Eve. It's just started to snow. Let's let the kids go. Unbeknownst to her, oops, I killed the kids. Because...
And
Yeah,
she's so she's so excited.
Everyone's
We're
so
gonna go home,
excited.
and everyone's so happy. They're so excited. Oh my God, we're going to go home early. And then my favorite, except Willie and Nellie.
Because you live across the street.
My face when she says clean the hat, I don't do blackboards. I just like the hat comes down. I'm like,
Yeah, what a drag.
it's hilarious. I'm like, I'm not cleaning the blackboard.
So she decides that the kids should go home before the snow gets any worse, and it's just a light snow for now.
Right.
And so the kids are now walking home. We see the Ingalls with the Isaiah's children and Isaiah and Grace's kids walking home.
Carl.
And the weather has now turned very, very bad. Very bad.
Yeah.
Carrie is not having a shining moment in this episode. Carrie is the little girl
Where's your
you want to slap.
I don't know.
Very, very whiny. I know she's only 4 years old, but my God, she is. Oh, Carrie. Just instead of saying anything bad, I'm just going to say, oh,
she
Carrie.
served purpose. She created more
barely
danger.
made it.
Yeah.
She couldn't get out the school door without a problem. Mary goes, "Where's brother?" I don't know. Carrie, it's already a mess. Mary's already going, Carrie, before they've even left.
And she was coming, and she was just there because
It was a special day. They let her come to school that day.
On Christmas Eve.
Never goes.
Yeah.
Right. It
Yeah.
was a special, and so she was so
She was
excited.
But then she gets so whiny and gross. But anyway, she's 4. I know. I'll give her grace. I'm just going to say, oh, Carrie, every time I'm irritated with her. Okay, so now the kids are walking home. The weather's getting bad.
Right.
The Carter,
Really bad.
is it the Cart? No, Carl and Alicia, the
Edwards,
Edwards,
the Edwards
decide to
children
take a shortcut. So the kids disperse.
Always bad.
Right.
Always bad.
Now,
Right.
Charles and Mr. Edwards
idea.
are now coming home. They're still on the wagon, and the weather is getting bad. Mr. Edwards, however, has a sneaky peek of a bottle of booze with him. Nice and comforting. The guy has a problem.
Oh, you say in the back
In the back of the wagon.
Always.
Right.
He's ready.
Okay, then what happens? Sorry, I have in my notes, Carrie
Yeah,
sucks. Sorry, Carrie.
I grew up. I just want to say, quick story. I grew up in the country, and there was an older gentleman who was considered sort of the local sheriff. He wasn't a sheriff, but we really counted on him to sort of look after things around the place. He could produce a little fifth of Jack Daniels in any tree that you walk by.
That's fantastic.
There was always a little nip of whiskey available to him.
Medicinal.
And
Yeah,
this was
sure.
This
Purely
was like
medicinal
one of the local
purposes.
jokes.
Correct.
Yeah.
Love it. I mean, clearly the guy has a problem, but it's adorable.
Yes, he does have a. That's well documented in the program. He has a problem.
Right, exactly. Okay, so now the ladies are leaving Mrs. Olson's. They're heading to the school to drop off the crafts for the Christmas party the next day and to pick up their children.
Right.
And they arrive to an empty classroom and a horrified Miss Beadle, who very clearly
she's the
realizes, oops, I might have killed the kids by sending them home.
This is the moment. Just standing. Charlotte is so beautiful. She's just
Shocked.
standing in the middle of the room crying, and they're like, "Where are the children?" Let them go. And then they go, "Wait, how long?" She goes, "About 20, 30 minutes." And they're like,
half an hour,
They're
yeah.
doing the math, going, "Oh no, there's no way they're home," and they're right in
It's
it.
bad.
They freak.
Charlotte is so devastating. My God, the look on her face, the horror behind her eyes is
Yeah.
insane.
She was so good in this. Yeah.
And you get in this episode how dangerous it was for us lucky people in this century. Oh no, there's a terrible blizzard. It's going to go. Yeah, well, we'll get in our
Right.
car and we'll get,
Right.
or
Turn on
we'll
the heater.
call someone. We'll call AAA and they will come save us. The paramedics will come. We'll make it to a 7-Eleven and duck in. There's some outlet. We have a chance. These people are in the middle
Nowhere.
of freaking nowhere in Minnesota, where you get like lake snow and these
Yeah.
blizzards, and there's no hospital. There's no hospital to go to if it goes wrong and you have frostbite. There's no AAA. Nobody's coming.
There's no Gore-Tex
and they
coats.
know this.
Like there's no insulated
Nope.
boots. There's no nothing.
Right. Right.
I saw a lovely shot of Jack Lilly in this, getting his big, like, furry coat and going, fur.
At the Olsons, where everyone's like
Mr. Olsen
gearing up.
had an awesome fur
you
coat.
can die without
That's
the right
right.
coat. And they know probably every winter somebody doesn't make it because they just literally were outside and got too cold.
Of course.
And they know
Listen,
this.
the death toll in New York City just over the past couple of weeks with the homeless population, and they made it a thing in New York that if you see a homeless person on the street in this frigid, freezing temperature, you call 311 or you call 911, and they are guaranteed a spot in any shelter. They opened everything so everyone would be protected. But of course, there are people that are going to be left behind, and
of course,
and there was something like 11 deaths last week or 2 weeks ago when it was that freezing, frigid temperature, and that's just because they were outside.
And elderly people get outside, don't make it back to the apartment in time, and it gets and then this series. But the scary thing you see in everyone's eyes, and this is amazing because every actor in it got it. You see, they know that cold can mean death.
Yes.
In a way that none of us have had.
That's right.
Experience, and they know it, and it's like, it's terrifying.
Yeah.
Terrifying.
Yep.
Terrifying.
Okay, so now Charles and Mr. Edwards finally arrive also, and they realize the kids are all gone and they could possibly die, and they organize a search. Mr. Olsen opens up the shop. He's take whatever you need.
Well, actually, he opens up the shop at the invitation of his wife, which is sort of a surprise because her children are right there. She knows they're safe.
I was shocked. Nellie's trying to be useful. I'm sitting in the corner tearing up sheets to make bandages for the frostbite. Like, wait, I'm working. And Mrs. Olsen's like, you can't go out in that. She's like, she's helping people.
Yeah, they were
it's
good.
Like,
well, you know what?
And the beautiful
we need that every now and then.
Otherwise,
Otherwise, they're just complete monsters. If we don't see some kind of humanity in them every now and then, just give us a touch of humanity so we can forgive them and move on.
And Nels and Hanson, they have this great relationship, and you get a little touch of it here, and you also get why they're Walnut Grove cool people, because they Spirit of Walnut Grove. Nels starts getting dressed, and Hanson goes, "Where are you going? Your kids are fine." And he says, "Yeah, and you don't have any kids, you old goat. Let's go." They don't care that they're not personally taking a hit here. They don't care that it's not their kids. They're going, "Dummy, somebody else's kids are." We're going. We're going.
Yep. It's really beautiful. Really well done.
Yeah.
And Mr. Olsen, P.S., has an awesome coat. The fur-lined coat. Oof, it was so pretty. Also, let's mention that they're bundling all the men up to go out there, and little Henry's father, again, Henry, who we have never seen before, we'll never see again. His father, vortex people. We know they're doomed when they're vortex people anyway.
It's the Star Trek thing. It's the red uniform.
So they're getting dressed, and Mr. Olsen is like, "Here, take an extra coat. You're going to be too cold in that coat." And he's like, "No, I'll be fine." And he leaves without a second coat. As the words of Julia Roberts in Pretty Woman, big mistake. Big mistake.
Also, these two people, again, the McGinnises, they were technically names. These were Mr. John Carter as Ted McGinnis. He was every judge on Law and Order. He was a judge 4 times on Law and Order.
The actor who played McGinnis?
He was always a judge on Law and Order. When he wasn't a priest or the district attorney on shows, he was on MacGyver. He was in everything. He was in Scarface. He was in everything. He's like brilliant. And I was shocked. Letty McGinnis, that's Luana Anders. I mean, I knew her. She was besties with my friend Rich Martini. She's, oh my God, she was an Easy Rider. She was a huge star. Jack Nicholson thanked her at the Oscars. God. She was the movie Shampoo. She's in Shampoo, but it's allegedly based on her relationship with her hairdresser. She was totally involved in the creation of that movie. That's Luann Anders. She was Lisa in Easy Rider. She was in everything. Good. She was in everything. It was based off Shampoo. She was go Google that lady. Go IMDb
she did such a beautiful
job. She was in all these huge films. She was thanked at the Oscars. It's Luann.
They had a nice little, she and McGinnis, who we didn't know, it had this nice little moment where he's trying to get her away from the book so that she won't discover the $17 discrepancy. And Yeah, it was a very sweet little moment.
At the same time, I was like, who are these people? Who are these people?
Career, and she just she pops in and she's like gone. She has a great scene, and then we never see her again.
And she's very good in this episode. My God. Okay, so where are we now? They're going out for the search. Oh, Mary.
Oh, Doc Baker comes.
Doc
for
Baker
blankets,
comes. They're setting up the church to
rough.
be a triage sort of place for when they all come back.
And he gives them the speech.
Well, everyone's there. They're not going anywhere.
Yeah,
I mean,
he gives the women the speech about how bad it is. And yes, I looked up all the horrible ways you die from cold. It's not good. You don't want to know. But the frostbite and the hypothermia, things happen. There's different levels of hypothermia. There's, kind of freezing to death, you can be treated. And then there's, it's too late, your body shuts down. Also, the frostbite, you shouldn't, all that rubbing of the feet. No, actually don't do that because the skin can get damaged. The skin is so damaged by frostbite, you really don't want to rub it. You want to dip body parts into warm, not hot water.
Not hot
God,
water.
that must be so painful.
Jeez. Get them back to temperature, get them back to body temperature. And I read a really disgusting thing about what happens to you with frostbite. I mean, there's starting the red stuff, right? But it's like burns, 2nd degree burns and 3rd degree burns. If you get cold enough, long enough, and it goes from the little red to serious bleeding blisters, and that's why we're getting bandages and poultices, because there's you need wound treatment if your frostbite is that bad. If it gets really bad, and it probably would have then, because nobody was going to a hospital in the first 5 minutes, and a carapace, as they say, it turns black like smallpox, and a hardened gel forms that either falls off or has to be surgically
I've seen
removed.
images of, the men who would try to climb Everest or whatever and didn't make it, but they were frostbitten and their noses fell off. And it was just black, and they'd fall off. And sometimes just the piece comes off and you could be saved, and other times it's too late. So you can die of frostbite because the wounds are so severe. Also, you become dehydrated, and giving somebody alcohol when they have frostbite. God.
Alcohol actually
Okay, we'll get to that later with Mr. Edwards.
It's horrible.
But anyway.
You can die horribly. Dying horribly.
He didn't know. Okay, so in the meantime, and in the meantime, Mary and Laura and Carrie sucks. She's whiny, but okay, she's 4, we'll give it to her. But they're still trudging through the snow and trying to get this. Also, question about the snow. What was the snow? Where was all of these snow? I assume this was all done on a sound stage for the most part.
All that close-up work that was done of the girls walking through the snow, that was all on a stage.
Okay.
There was, that early scene where Alicia and Carl separate from Laura, Mary, and Carrie. That's on the ranch. That's clearly, you can see that's on the ranch.
You can blow.
But once you're inside the intensity of the storm, it's all on the stage. And there were a couple of stages, and Allison, you probably worked on some of these stages. I have not, but that were specifically rigged and set up to do this kind of thing, to do water, to do snow, to do all that.
Certain you could actually even go to the bee tank if you were getting deep enough in the snow, but they didn't have a big expanse. So, but you would have you could do a tank, so that way you could do several feet of this crushed iced snow. Was
it so plastic? Was it some sort of?
Well, when you see it blowing on us, you'll see a lot of the wax. This is sort of a wax flaky plastic thing. But you could do many kinds of snow. But when you were in a sound stage and you needed to have the crunchy, clearly ice, you basically like a ski lodge machine, the fake snow, and you could have it sit there and not melt because you're indoors and it's nice and cold, and you have basically a big old tank of snow to slog through for close-ups.
So the technology of movie snow has, and I did something about this recently. I was working on, I think it was maybe for one of our shows. But I think it was very likely that at that point, it was a kind of almost like a potato, kind of a dried potato product. By the time we did The Christmas They Never Forgot, it was like shredded garbage bags. It was like shredded white garbage bags.
This waxy plastic, we had that a lot. We had shredded plastic even at Christmas at Plum Creek. It was very popular. It was cheap. It was easy to clean up, and it kind of clung to your clothes and fluttered nicely. But you do sometimes, if someone would come into the church with snow on them, you notice it's not melting because the shredded plastic.
How cool. And obviously there
are whole companies that do nothing but snow.
But obviously this was a huge production and a lot of cost, I'm sure, because after this, they never really did winter stuff again.
Not very
until
often.
until much
years
much
later.
Yeah. Yeah, it is expensive, and of course, as we've always talked about, you're always shooting these things like in August, September, when it's blistering hot in Simi Valley, and so it
was so obvious that it was a warm summer day in these exterior shots in the beginning of the episode. I mean, it's so very obvious.
Yeah.
The interior shots really work there because there's that picture that somebody took, and it's like on Facebook all the time, and it's the little house when they were like snowed in, and there's fake snow in there, but they've pulled back, and you see the guy on the ladder with the cardboard box of the flake, the guy with the van, and we did a lot of that, and that was fine. You could do that. So if you wanted to do a snow scene snowed in, you could shoot the whole thing on the soundstage. You go, sure, fine, whatever. How much snow would you like? So that's why eventually people get to these shacks and these things in the so that they can be on the soundstage in a pile of snow.
Okay. All right. So the kids, again, Carl and Alicia, they're staggering in the snow. The kids are all staggering in the snow. In the church/school, the women are taking care of the kids that have been recovered already. They're rubbing their feet, which now we know is a no-no.
Doc Baker gets laudanum for pain. He offers laudanum to people. Now, so Alice, you probably know, and I don't know specifically what laudanum is. I always think of something like morphine, but it's not that. It's something.
Is it more alcohol?
It is addictive and a narcotic. It's very bad. Now, pain relief is given for extreme hypothermia and frostbite because it hurts like all get out as you start to thaw. God. And so, giving people actual heavy duty painkillers, absolutely a thing. I'm going to say laudanum. I'm trying to remember what's in it. It's alcohol. It's everything. That's why it's so popular. Wow. It is an alcohol-based tincture of opium. Used as potash. So yes, it is an opioid.
And
you have actual opium, but with alcohol. So yes, that's why
it's kicking your ass every which way.
It must have tasted awful too.
That's why in that scary South Dakota show with the swearing all over the one of the Little House in Hell.
Right.
They're all laudanum. They're all on laudanum. Yes, it's laudanum. Is Victorian ladies who never leave the house who said that the laudanum is gone. It's highly addictive. It was a big problem in the 1800s because it is opium dissolved in booze.
Give them to the kids. Everybody gets laudanum.
Yes. Well, there's a in this moment I think that we're talking about now, such a sweet moment.
This is the moment.
A rare moment of empathy from Willie.
This moment,
which is a really sweet moment.
It's his best moment in the entire series, period, which is, they're all taking care of these cold kids and everyone's traumatized, and Miss Beadle is just head on the desk in a slump at her desk, knowing that she created this.
And I apologize. Our gardener is here, and I didn't think they'd be here because it was raining.
Oh no!
So it's like the blowing is
going on. It's like
really
the fan. It's like the giant snow machine. That's what we'll think it is.
Snow machines. That's the things. Jonathan's so amazing in this because, again, as I said, like Nellie usually is fake crying, and then we see a real crying. Jonathan, who's normally just, I'm eating paste, I'm in the corner, suddenly turns on the switch. Yep. And he is so sweet and empathetic, and there's poor Miss Beadle, and he puts his hand on
pets her head.
She's so touched.
It's not your fault. It's not your fault. Stunning.
It really is. It sort of took my breath away revisiting it. It just was such a moment. And her, not just gratitude that he did this to her, but her almost relief that someone said it, let alone one of the little kids. Yeah. Let alone the worst little kid, right? Like,
this is telegraphing, because remember, when Willie grows up, he becomes quite nice. He marries that lovely
and he defies
girl.
his mother.
So Willie is not as bad as Nellie. He's not as bad as Mrs.
whatever
Olsen.
she does.
This is showing us the secret good person that he actually is, and will be later. This is our moment. We find out he's not evil to the core. He's a good boy.
Should we take a break now and then we'll get to the horrors that are coming up? Or should we talk about some horrors?
I think we should actually get through the second.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought I didn't realize it. Okay, we're continuing. We're continuing with some horrors now.
The
horrors ensue.
So there's Interesting, like, so Doc Baker is serving whiskey to the children to
Brandy
to
yum yum yum.
help them warm up. We're back out in the storm. Laura and Mary are confused about where they are. Now they're arguing about which direction they should be going in, which is a classic disorientation. Parents are out searching in the storm. They find Joey.
So the two dads go out, Henry's dad and Joey's dad.
Yes,
and they find Joey.
Yes, and Joey's taken back to the church, and Henry's dad continues on, and we're going to find out what happens to him.
Tragic.
In a few minutes. Carrie can't go on.
Carrie.
They are looking for a shed.
Yeah, because Mary, come on now. Listen, she might be a narc, but she is the only sensible, strong, mindful person on this entire prairie. I swear.
Mary is badass in this episode. Mary's a total hard ass. Carrie goes, I can't. And she goes, yes, you can. Get up. He's like, get up, maggot. She's a Marine instructor. So like, get up. And Laura's like, she can't go any further. Yes, she can. And so can you. And she's dragging. She just picks Carrie up and picks her up and and just starts stomping off through the snow. And she tells Laura and Carrie, no, get up. We're going. There's shelter. And I'm like,
and she's the one that remembered that there's this abandoned shelter that they could be in. And also, thank God,
matches.
Because that was her gift.
Well, that's coming. That's coming.
Her gift for her parents were a candle that came with matches. They have that conveniently.
Yes.
Right. We'll get back to that in a second.
So, all right. So we can't. They're hanging on. They're looking for it. We're back in the church. Caroline and Grace are worried. It's going to be dark soon. Mrs. McGinnis wants to know where her husband is.
She's really freaking out.
They are out looking for Henry. Henry is here.
So Henry, first of all, let's just talk about
Henry was against
Henry shows up at the school. He collapses outside the door. They open the door. Right. Oh my gosh, it's Henry, who's very near death, shall we say. He's not in good shape.
I thought he might.
But anyway, Henry is there. They're going to save Henry. But Henry's dad is still out looking for Henry and doesn't know that Henry is safe now. He's been found. Right. Also, let's talk about Grace, because this starts the demise of the mental state and emotional state of Grace, who's sitting here waiting for her children to arrive, and they have still not arrived. And we see slowly but surely Grace starting to unravel a bit, which is exactly right. I would be too.
So the act break is...
You see her stare at that child.
The act break is Henry is here. And so you look at Mrs. McGinnis's face, and there's a look of terror.
Right, because Henry's mom says, "Where is my husband?" And Joey's dad says, he's still out looking for Henry. And she says, "But Henry's here." And then, I just have in my notes in all caps, "I am not okay." At this point, I was sobbing. This is just like your worst nightmare. This is your worst nightmare as a parent, as a spouse. It's just like, holy moly. Okay, so
let's take a break.
Yeah, I need a break. We'll be right back.
Yeah, so we're gonna we'll come back with more. While you're thinking about it, we'll be back with more Blizzard after this message from Visit Simi
and
Valley.
Laudanum. We'll be back with Laudanum.
When you visit Simi Valley, California, you're stepping into the pages of history. Go from the pioneers to the presidents. Explore beautiful wildflowers, hike through iconic Hollywood locations, and end your day aboard the actual Air Force One at the Ronald Reagan Presidential Library and Museum. Throughout the summer, take the Little House 50th Anniversary Tour at Big Sky Movie Ranch. Less than 15 minutes from Los Angeles and 30 minutes from Universal Studios, Simi Valley has small-town charm with big-time history. Go to visitsimiValley.com for more information. We are so grateful to visitsimiValley.com for their commitment to presenting the Little House 50th Anniversary podcast.
All right, guys, we're back. And Allison, tell us what you were just saying to us during the break.
Well, they're trying. Doc Baker's given the speech. The church like, we got to do this because, and he does say minutes. Literally, what you do in the first seconds they come in is the difference of life and death. He is absolutely correct. That is correct now. If you take him to the hospital in this kind of condition,
what do you have to do within the first minutes? Do you know?
You want to slowly, not to get them back up to normal temperature. to stop any further damage from the hypothermia and the frostbite. And you want to assess, is the frostbite, it's like burns. Is it first degree, second degree? What degree of frostbite? Are they going to have hunks of flesh falling off? Or are they going to have blister? What is this going to be? And as the longer they stay cold in the hypothermia, the sooner they can die. You die. So trying to get them back up to normal body, but slowly, and it's like you get the fingers into warm, like room temperature water, slowly, because if you too fast, you cause more tissue damage and people have heart attacks and terrible things will happen. So slowly get them back. Pain management is absolutely a thing. So a lot of them, might come out because people are in excruciating pain when they have all these things happening. And have to have pain management, especially when they thaw out. In fact, before you die, if you are freezing to death, you get all sleepy and feel great, and you think you're warm, and people even will remove layers of clothing. So, but then it's too late. Everything's over. You're finished. So before that happens, as you thaw out, it hurts. So you got to deal with that. Then they're severely dehydrated because weirdly, even though you're wet and it's snow, as you get hypothermia and the frostbite, it's terrible dehydration. So they have to rehydrate people, get them on an IV and get them rehydrated. Yeah. So probably nowadays we would not give someone alcohol in this situation because they didn't know dehydration. Back then, what the hell did they have? Brandy absolutely does temporarily make you feel better and feel warmer, and it gets the blood rushing kind of to the skin. So for a few minutes, relief, woohoo. Long term, that's a terrible idea. And I don't see anyone giving anybody water, which they really desperately need to do. But for 1870s, Doc Baker's actually almost right on top of it. He's for 1870s technology. He's doing really well.
Do you know if they knew how to properly treat this in the 1870s at that time, or was this all not discovered till a little later?
I would think they did. Well, you're talking about the frostbite itself. I mean, he was very clear about
but knowing,
what to do.
Don't give them alcohol. We have to hydrate.
Well, that's something else.
I wonder if they knew that then.
Alcohol was such a popular medical thing until relatively recently. I mean, why, the St. Bernards in the snow with the barrel of brandy. I mean, absolutely. Brandy was considered medicinal, a hot toddy. There's medical articles now going, well, the hot toddy, the part with the water and the lemon, you should drink that. Maybe not so much the brandy, but we know why. Yes, okay. But that was recently considered a perfectly reasonable thing to give someone.
Okay, so we're continuing. Mary and Laura and Carrie find this shed.
The shed.
And Mary tries lighting the match in the shed. First it fails. Right. It's very, very windy. And I was like, everyone circle around Mary, for God's sake, so the wind doesn't get but no one moves.
And maybe Mary...
come on, people.
She could move. There's a big hole in the wall right next to her.
Yeah, no, exactly.
You guys...
I mean, but this was shelter. I mean, at least they were out of the direct elements.
But she finally does get the fire going, and she lights the candle. It's a bit of a fire hazard, I would say. However, I would think a burning barn might be better than just being out in a blizzard. I don't know.
Well, that's what as she's lighting this straw, and the whole ground is covered with straw. So thinking, this could go very badly in a matter of seconds.
I was thinking that too.
Is it wet? Maybe a lot of the straw's wet. Maybe it's so freaking cold and damp that the odds are in her favor at this point. Like, so if it spreads a little, great.
Okay.
Yeah, right. Well,
so go on.
Charles and Mr. Edwards are out searching. Somehow, out of nowhere, Charles reaches down and finds Laura's calendar in the snow. It's like in this cupboard. I mean, how he saw it, what a fluke that would be to find something like that. But it certainly told them
they did come this
that
far.
They were on the right track.
But he's good at that. He found her crossing the river with her name on it. This is a running theme with Charles. Finding
it's a pattern. And in the meantime, Henry's dad, Mr. McGinnis, is poor guy. Yeah. Oh, this is terrible.
He's freezing
to death. Still looking for his son. He does not know that his son has actually been recovered and returned. Yeah. And okay, so we know he's in trouble, right? We know he's in trouble.
And he collapses in the snow. Right. I mean, it's like he's done.
And also, like you were saying before, Allison, what I know about dying in the snow from cold exposure and everything is that you fall asleep, right? You get sleepy.
Yeah,
and
you get real sleepy, and then you feel hot. Then you think you're not freezing to death anymore. Yeah. You get warm. You get hot.
His hat falls off, and he pulls down his scarf. And I was like, oh no, he's feeling hot now. and he's falling fast asleep. He's done.
You know what happens when you get extremely cold is the blood retracts to your heart. I mean, so all the blood is leaving your extremities and moving because the body's trying to protect itself. Mm-hmm. And so as it's protecting itself, it's really ensuring that it's going to die in a sense, because you can't move, you can't do anything. You're completely not functioning at that point. I mean, that's how people drown or die in extremely cold water. Is there, that the blood rushes to your heart, and you feel the tingling in your hands. If you've ever been swimming in really cold water, when you start to feel your fingertips getting numb, you've got to be heading for shore.
And also, I mean, this has happened to me where you sort of get in extremely cold water and it takes your breath away. It's so cold you can't even breathe. It's just a shock to your entire system. Okay.
Have you guys had frostbite?
I don't think I've had
medical
grade frostbite.
I've been really cold, but not frostbite.
A teeny tiny bit 2 times, but got the hell out of the snow and got immediate treatment in warm water. But it's something.
Twice you've had this happen?
I was a stupid California girl who didn't have warm enough clothes when we went to visit snowy places, and bad things
I've definitely,
happen.
as a kid, been the toes get so cold that you're in excruciating pain and that sort of stuff. I don't know if that's considered frostbite or close to frostbite.
I didn't have boots. I had some warm clothes. I had some gloves, but my ankles. And when I got in, I went, "Why are my ankles? Do they look like that?" And it was out kind of the warm water and stuff because little marks. And I had the wind blow. Edmonton, Alberta, always a fun place. The wind blew through my pants.
That's
and
cold,
I went, "What are these big red patches on my legs?" And but not pretty. Yeah. Like I said, this was just the first part of frostbite when it first becomes frostbite and was treated immediately. And it was horrible.
Ooh, I can't even imagine. Yeah. All right. Yeah. So
Yeah,
again,
so-
this
yes.
just episode is just an episode of horrors.
Yeah, so
horrors.
it spills. It's one tragedy after another. I mean, things are getting worse and worse and worse. So Charles and Edwards they shuffle in the snow. They find the kids. They get them. They decide very quickly they got to get them out of there because the shed could collapse in the wind. So that would be worse.
But Carl and Alicia are not with them.
Unfound.
So
And so Edwards keeps going.
Right. Which is dangerous in itself.
And it's been established this man lost a family years ago. He lost a child because they stopped the plot, and his wife and daughter die in an epidemic at some point was mentioned. So this is not good that Mr. Edwards is now in the position of possibly losing more children.
All right, so Charles is bringing the girls back to school, and on the way back, they find poor Mr. McGinnis, Henry's father.
Yes, they find McGinnis. Right.
Dead.
Yes,
DEAD. Dead. Like, he doesn't even check his pulse. Dead. Like, it is confirmed.
No, he said there's nothing we can do.
Dead.
Yeah.
The moment that the girls see him, and you see Laura just quickly turn around, and Mary just sort of cradles her into her. It's just a terrifying, shocking moment. Oh, this episode.
And he has to explain to the children, no, we're leaving him here.
Nothing we can do.
And the children go, well,
there's nothing we can do. We have to go.
Yeah, we're going to literally leave this guy dead in the snow and walk away. How do you tell small children that?
Right.
Okay, so now we're back in the schoolhouse. Grace is spiraling now officially, where not only does she say that she felt jealous when was it Joey came and she was so happy that and she was like, where are my kids? And she felt ashamed that she felt jealous. She felt angry about it, that it wasn't her children. But she is starting to unravel. I think I would be exactly the same way. And she's like, I can't just sit here. I have to go. And Carolyn is like, we cannot go. And and then
she flipped out and has a panic.
That's when Charles and the children arrive.
So Charles and the children arrive.
She goes into Carolyn's almost slapping her. She goes into a panic mode. I'm going to go out. I'm going to go out into the snow. And I'm amazed they psychologically went there, because that's totally a thing. When she says, I felt jealous, I couldn't believe it, I was conscious of it, but I went, why is her kid alive? That she actually got jealous, that they actually went there. Because you hear about like survival guilt, and then here's someone going, why are you alive and my kids are not here? That these horrible situations bringing about these kind of emotions, they're terrible. This lovely woman who's a very good, super nice, good Christian woman, suddenly feeling that she's angry at this woman because her kid's alive, and realizing how crazy that sounds, that they talked about this in 1974, 5, whenever the hell this thing came out. That's amazing.
77, actually, early 77.
These are the dark turns that people take.
That's
under
right.
this kind
Absolutely.
of pressure.
Yeah.
Also, note that that Mr. Hansen and Mr. Olsen come back. They've been searching this whole time. Oh. I loved this scene. It's such a small little scene, but it is so telling, where they finally get in the schoolhouse. They don't even make it inside. They just sit on the bench right inside the door, and they look terrible. And Mr. Olsen immediately falls asleep, and Mr. Hansen's like, he can't hear you right now. He is asleep. Total exhaustion. Total exhaustion.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they still wanted to go out and search more. And they're like, no.
Sure.
Nope. You are not going back out again. Okay.
There was a moment, we're talking about Grace sort of coming unglued here, and there's a moment, and they don't really explain it. Maybe the two of you picked up on something. So she's really losing it, and off camera, a woman screams.
Yes.
And there's no explanation of this. One has to presume that someone has expired.
Wasn't it Mr. McGinnis's wife finding out that her husband was dead?
Oh, you think that's what it was?
I think that was because Charles comes back. The doc is like, where is he? And he says, he's dead. I found him. And then the doctor you see walking back slowly into the room to deliver the news. Grace then starts losing it. So the camera's on Grace. And then we hear in the background the shriek of the cry, which is Doc Baker has just delivered the news.
We just don't see that moment
which
at
is
all.
More horrifying, hearing it in the background.
Yeah.
And that close up on Grace's face of realizing what has just happened.
Okay.
Yeah.
How many shows or TV movies would have immediately swung around and we'd have had a big scene with the woman whose husband had just died? There'd be weeping and wailing and drama and that. Little House, we don't. We go to this woman talking about, I don't know what I'm going to do with him, and meanwhile we hear the screams of a mother who's now lost her husband, and you're like, and that's just, sorry, people are dying in the background. Oh well,
yeah, it's brutal.
Just there.
It's brutal. Okay, so but then what happens is
we cut to Mr. Edwards is still searching.
Right. Now, is it the next day?
He's still saying that's the end of Act 3.
Right. So everyone goes to sleep. Edwards and the kids are still not back. The next morning, Charles wakes up. He's the first one to wake up in the schoolhouse. He opens the shutters to the windows. The storm is over. It's over. And in that moment, but at least the blizzard itself is over. That's when the doors open and Mr. Edwards and Carl and Alicia arrive safe and sound.
They'll be hung over for a while, he says.
Yes, they're all
drunk.
And
they're all hung over. But they built an igloo or something.
Yeah, it's totally the Long Johns through the river kind of thing. Mr. Edwards always survives the unsurvivable and bursts through the door and goes, I'm here, Merry Christmas. This is his thing. And he's done it again. And what did he say? My son, he could teach an Eskimo how to build a snow house. Because apparently he is a little survivalist child and built himself a snow structure, which indeed would have protected body heat, and they lived. Like, surprise, who knew?
So in this moment, this is yet again another horrifyingly devastating moment. So everyone's cheering and laughing and thanking God that they've arrived and everyone's safe and sound. And then we turn around and see poor Mrs. McGinnis and her son Henry, who are the ones who have indeed lost their husband and father in this thing, and everyone seems to have forgotten that for a moment. It is devastating to see. And then Charles, who was supposed to, didn't they say he was supposed to give a sermon the next day?
He was going to give it because Reverend Aldo was with one of his other parishes,
And then Charles opens up the Bible and reads the passage about the birth of Jesus Christ. I bring you great tidings of joy. And that's how this frickin' episode ends, people. And I am a disaster at the end of this episode. I have to tell you,
it's so again because it's like they remember
so
it's
identified
Christmas.
with Grace. I mean, I kept saying like, "Oh, I am Grace."
Yeah.
That would have been me.
Wow.
That would have been me.
Wow.
I am Grace.
Okay.
The pain of a mother like that, I cannot even. This episode was a rough and beautiful and amazing, but really tough.
Yeah.
That's when my husband walked in. I went, "This episode was really sad."
I can't help but wonder if in Michael's mind, as he was laying out the season, that he did not design this in his mind as being the Christmas episode. I mean, why would you do it? Why would you do it in January?
No.
Everyone's past that. But I'm thinking that NBC said, we just can't do that to the audience. 5 days before Christmas.
We just can't do that. Episode because it's that thing of like, okay, everything's gone so bad, and we know that many people are dead besides even Mr. McKiss. We know how bad it is out there. We know it's because I said the big bills are killed hundreds, so we know it's horrible. Many people are going to be found dead in the next few days, but then it's like, oh right, it's Christmas because it was Christmas Eve and all the thing, and he goes, well, I guess I'm doing the thing, and he reads the Christmas story, and it's like it's like the Peanuts special when Linus stopped the show and reads the thing.
It's great.
He said, Kelly goes, but it's Christmas,
read.
and this is why we're here, and this is why we have Christmas, and starts talking about the Savior, and you're like, really now?
Well,
but it's Little House on the Prairie.
It's the right
and
message.
That you lean on. They're going to lean on God because that is what they are going to do. Because this is.
Well, I did wonder, and obviously, yes, it's a Christmas episode, and yes, that is the passage you're going to read. But I did wonder, there's no other passage in the Bible that would comfort these people a little bit more. But unless the meaning of that passage is exactly what you said, which is obviously true, which is they're leaning on God now to get them through this. But oof.
I mean, I think that's as not being an overtly in any way really a religious person at all. I always feel like, the Bible, as I look at it, the Bible is there to help explain things that at the time it was written could not be explained any other way. Right. And it's to give people hope and comfort and the sense that we will be okay and we can find some logic for all of this, whatever this is that we're facing right now. And I think that's the power of it. And that's why in times of crisis, we turn to that because we need that hope. Right. Yeah.
Well, the crazy thing too is that the gist is, the idea is, and we says for us is born a Savior, is that, all right, anyone who's dead and being in Walnut Grove and attending church with Reverend Alden, they believe in Jesus, so they're going to heaven. He may be dead, his body may be in the snowbank, but we are going to see them again with Jesus in heaven, and we are going to talk to Jesus and turn in prayer during our suffering, and all of that is a guaranteed thing that they have been talking about for the whole show and all of their lives, etc., would be a thing. And I read a fascinating book, something, I don't remember what it's called. It was a religious writer, and he was talking about crazy things that people have taken from the way they think about God is like some sort of slot machine, handing out gifts that, people praying to God for their Oscars, their Emmys, their sports teams. It's like, not so much kids. And saying like people, don't quite understand. And the phrase he used that was kind of like, whoa, that's what he said, your car is broken down in the middle of nowhere in a snowbank. There's no phones. There's no anything. No, Jesus isn't the one who comes and sends the AAA truck. Jesus isn't the one who does it. Jesus lays down with you in the snowbank and dies alongside.
Wow.
Now, that's pretty harsh sounding, but when you think about it, that's what it is, that the relationship with God, the idea is that it's something that if everything is gone, everything's gone bad, yes, you are going to die, no, that all the exits are out, that somehow this presence, this thing, is still with
and
you
that
and
you're
counts.
not alone.
Right. Yes. Right. That's what they're saying.
Anyone can get behind that. I mean, that can be a universal message for sure. And what a comfort in that as well.
Yes, you're not alone.
And of course you'd lean on that in the face of tragedy and devastation. Of course you would. You'd be crazy not to. how else would you get through anything? Yeah.
Right.
All right. Well. How do we,
and now turn to the end. Where's that happy music that we love so much?
That's the thing. The ending credits ruin all of it. All of it. Oh my gosh. I thought of you. Example, even when the ending credits even came on, I was like, no, God, no.
I thought of you. I thought of you. I laughed so hard because no sooner has he said, in the word of the Lord, amen. And
Henry's got his. He is really dead in the snow. He is dead. Yeah, I even have in my notes ending credits dash in all cap letters. Ruined. They ruined it.
I was like, Bob just
why did they have an alternate ending credit? Like, why? There are shows on the very special episodes. They have different ending credits so that it's not a happy, joyous thing.
That was just not Michael's way. That was not Michael's way.
It is such...
We could have had another piece of music. David Rose could have written something kind of...
Sure, of course. But that's not what he
out with.
Buzz Kill. It's so inappropriate. It's. I was going to say killjoy, but it's not really joy they're killing. But it's so inappropriate.
It's format. It's format.
Yes.
And you have a format. You open this way, you close this way, you bridge this way. That's how we do this.
It's a TV show.
And that's what it's
so
about. It's
intrusive. Format. It feels abusive. It feels like you're in an abusive relationship. Like, am I supposed to forget that Mr. McGinnis is dead in the snow? Am I supposed to forget this?
Well, let's do our own version of that right now. Take us out of this, Pamela.
And now the snow. Thanks for joining us, everybody. We will see you next time. Listen, we appreciate you being here. Come join us on our website, littlehouse50podcast.com, or our socials, Little House 50 Podcast. I'm exhausted and traumatized. I'm sure you are too. Anyway, let's end this thing. Bob, get the wig. Let's fly. Or perhaps we'll sled down the hill this time.
And don't get lost in the deep snow.
Wear your Gore-Tex and your waterproof boots, please.
Nobody had a compass.